I was asked to do a short testimonial about my experience with Catholic Men's Fellowship, so here I am. But in order to understand my experience, I got to go a little bit back. I don't want to go too far back, but I think we can all relate to like COVID times, right? A few years ago, everybody was like going crazy. So was I. I lost my dad during that time. I lost my eldest brother. The main source of income in our household was gone. We had to figure something out, right? I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what I was going to do. I got two other brothers, but like many families, you can't really count on those guys, right? So it was really going to be me and whatever I can come up with. And at the time, I was, to be honest, I was lukewarm. I wasn't hot for Jesus at all. I was all about trying to get mine. I was a very selfish person, and it was really about my own happiness. So that's why it was so hard for me to figure out, how do I do this for my family now? You know, like my mom, my brothers, and whoever else, right? And so I went out looking. I needed help. First place I went was to a family friend. He's an attorney, and he told me to go look for Jesus. You know, pray on it. I didn't know what that meant. I knew what it meant, but I really didn't understand what he was expecting me to get out of that because I was lukewarm. And so I went to another friend who knew my dad very well, and he wanted to come and visit our family, talk to us about our dad. And he told me, you know, do you have a relationship with God? Maybe you should pray on that and let the Holy Spirit come to you with an answer. All right, and if you need more help, then he's always, I'm always welcome to come back to him. And so I went to church, and I had what I believe is an apparition, but an apparition of a neighbor who's a distant family member of ours. And I was in the back of the vestibule at St. Dorothy's. How many people have been to St. Dorothy's? Right? So in the back, there's a vestibule there, and they have these tables right behind the separating wall, right? And I was up there, and just like in the movies, man, things got a little dim. So I looked back to see if the lights got turned off, and I saw our neighbor who was in hospice, or I believed was in hospice because she had stomach cancer. And she started talking to me, and I started talking to her as if she was okay. I was like, hey, I thought you're in hospice. Are you all right now? Are you back home? And then so we started talking, and she said, hey, Gail, you know, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to tell you, the Lord is happy you're here. He's pleased with you. And I was like, what do you mean? You know, I come here all the time, or I've been to this church before. I'm like, what do you mean? And then he's all, you know, and I was like, no, what do you mean? You know, so you're in his house. And I was like, well, I live at home. What are you talking about? And then she just pointed forward. And then I turned, and I didn't see anybody. And then when I turned back, she was gone. And then as I got back to the table, the 12 o'clock mass started. And as I looked through the windows of that separating wall, there's a little windows there, I saw right at the crucifix. She was pointing to the crucifix. And I was like, wow, that's something, you know? And when that happened, I looked down, and there was a postcard of Catholic Men's Fellowship. And that was the beginning, because the Catholic Men's Fellowship I was looking for was, it said St. Louis on it, to be honest, St. Louis. But when I looked it up online, the closest one that came up was Our Lady of Grace. And then I'm in Baldwin Park too, so the Sacred Heart also came up when I checked out for Baldwin Park. But neither of them had a place, because I guess during that COVID time, they all got kicked out, right? They all were trying to find a place to go to. So I couldn't find a meeting to attend, or I couldn't find anyone to talk to. So I just let it go, no big deal, all right? Then 2024 comes around, and I see another postcard at St. Dorothy's, and it was for a Super Saturday at St. Philip in St. Philip, the Apostle in Pasadena. So I go over there, and like I said this morning when I walked in, the first smile was Mr. Haddock, right? I walked in, I got Miguel yelling at me, hey, did I register yet? You got to go over here. All right, I got to register. Okay, I registered. All right, I went over to talk to somebody else to just get an idea what's going on, and that person didn't see me at any time for me. But then Mr. Haddock was at the table with his books and a couple T-shirts, and he had a big old smile on his face. I was like, all right, I'm going to talk to that guy. And he gave me a little background on Catholic Men's Fellowship, and I was like, okay, I can get with that. And it's pretty interesting, you know, because it's just a bunch of guys. And the way he described them was broken men, right? We're a group of broken men. And I didn't understand, why would anyone want to brag about broken men? Right? It's like, why would you want to tell people you're broken? All right? But I was like, okay. But we talked about it. He shared with his book. Amazing book, by the way, Mr. Haddock. Congratulations, that's a good book. Then we went in church, and I heard Father Larry Richard talk about men of courage and what it takes in this modern world to have courage. And as a new guy who hasn't been exposed to that, you know, for so long, that was really refreshing, you know? And I started to understand what broken men was about, you know, and what it meant to have courage. Right, for real men, right? Especially those Catholic men that aren't afraid to go and speak the word and to go evangelize and share your faith with others. And so at that moment, I was like, all right, I got to give this a chance. All right, this might be something, maybe not what my parents would want or whatever, but it's something I need, all right, or something I would need in order to do what I have to do. So then that was basically that, and I went looking for a Catholic Men's Fellowship meeting. Went to St. John the Baptist, and I couldn't find their meeting. I went to Wednesday was at St. Christopher. Same thing, I couldn't find their meeting. And at that time, there was still daylight savings. It got dark early, so I left. Then on Thursday, I went to St. Louis, and I saw Miguel again. And I was like, I was a little shy to go talk to this guy because of how he approached me earlier at the at the Super Saturday. But this time he was all happy. He was like, hey, yeah, welcome. He took care of me, made me fill out some information, you know, and all that. And he shared with me what their meetings are about and how it's structured and what to expect. And I was like, that's really cool. And from that point on, Miguel and I, we became really good friends. He shares with me a lot of emails, and I really appreciate all the things that he's done for me, and how he's helped guide me, you know, through my time with Catholic Men's Fellowship. A lot of stuff I didn't understand, he would break it down, you know, and he'd share with me, this is what you need to do, this is how we do it, and why it's important. A lot of scriptural things, I mean, a lot of things like in regards to scripture, I don't understand, I'll be honest, man. A lot of that flies over my head when you do the Lectio Divina, right? So when you do the table talks, I really don't get a lot of it. But through that conversation at the tables, right? And then even sometimes afterwards, it's like dings, ding, you know, I get it, here it is. All right, and I'm sure that happens with a lot of us. But it's through those moments and through those conversations that I learn and I can improve. And I've been taking that home. I've been teaching my nieces and nephews the rosary. They're really excited when they see me now. They're like, hey, let me say the rosary with you. All right, and then we'll do a decade or something because we don't have enough time to do the whole thing. But they're excited to share and brag to me that they can do it now by themselves without having to look at the book or anything, you know? I share prayers with different people. I'd like to study the origin of these prayers, like the Angelus, like how the three Hail Marys became and evolved into the Angelus, and how the monks used that from back in the day. And just learning about the saints with St. Louis, they talked about the saints, and I went back to learn about all the different saints. And now, at home, I'm like pretty much the guy that when something happens and it's based on faith or religion, they say, hey, Gail, what about this? And I'd be like, I don't know, let's look it up. Right? And that's basically where we're at. In regards to leadership role at St. Dorothy's, I think David, or the guy who takes on the big role, you're doing a good job. And so I pretty much just was allowed to step away because of that, because the guys at St. Dorothy's are pretty amazing people. The core team there, that I was able to go with Bruce to St. John the Baptist and help out a little over there where our help is needed, and I think it's a good thing. But what we have here is a pretty amazing thing. You're not going to find it anywhere else. And when I was looking for something, my mindset of a men's group when that came up was just a bunch of guys playing poker, drinking beer, while they were cleaning their guns. Right? But now that I've experienced this, I think this is worthwhile, and I'm really happy to be here, guys. And it's really just been a pleasant experience. I'm really looking forward to many more years and experience with you guys.